Okay, this is homework 5, question 1 to question 5, the first part. Let's look at question 1. Suppose in this figure, rent controls. Suppose that the rent controls are imposed. If the government wanted a rent control ceiling, it's a price ceiling, to be effective immediately, what is one possible price to set? Now, the basic idea is actually this. I will make a very visible line. Make it larger. Okay. Heavier and different color. Okay. So we know that at rent 2, this is a equilibrium price. Okay, this is an equilibrium price. If we go above the equilibrium price, there will be more supply than quantity demanded. Right? More quantity supplied than the demanded. You have a surplus. And if you set price ceiling above the equilibrium market, right, going up and up, then the market price will fall to rent 2. So that price ceiling itself is not effective. It's not binding. It's not a binding price ceiling. Only when this ceiling is below the equilibrium price, okay, then what's gonna happen is there is a force, market force, right, will have a tendency to drive up this equilibrium price, a market price, okay, to the equilibrium price. So let's set this one lower, and the market tends to drive the price up, okay. But if you have a ceiling below the equilibrium price, the government says the price cannot go up, then you have an effective price ceiling. It's a binding price ceiling. So for a price ceiling, a rent control ceiling, to be effective immediately, it really means what? The price set by the government, the price ceiling set by the government, is below the equilibrium price in the market. The equilibrium price in the market in this picture is rent 2, so we either can have rent 1 or rent 0, right, to be the effective price ceiling. For the price floor, it's called floor, but it need to be above this equilibrium price, okay? Then the market price, let me turn this upside down, the market price will have a tendency to fall. That is a effective price floor. So this is, if you want to memorize it, it's just the opposite of where things should be, right? If you don't want the price go down, you set the floor above the equilibrium price. If you don't want the price to go up, you set the price ceiling below the equilibrium price. Okay, that's the trick. All right. Let's look at question 2. Still this figure. If rent control are set at rent 1, okay, again, let me mark where rent 1 is. Make it a little bit higher. Make this one a little bit bigger. Okay, we are right there at rent 1. Now, what can happen? Oops. What I want is this guy to become more visible. Okay, this is my price ceiling, right? So, what's gonna happen? There will be a supply, at Q3, quantity supplied into the market? No. Quantity supplied into the market is Q1 on the supply curve. Okay, so let me so now I have a better arrow here, and the quantity supplied is Q1. The quantity demanded on the demand curve, right? This demand curve is Q3. So the quantity demanded is higher than the quantity supplied. We have a shortage. Okay, people want more than what is supplied. Now let's look at B. Some renters will be willing to pay a price as high as rent 4. Now let's look at the demand. Someone want to pay this one. There's always someone who can pay a higher price. Okay, for Q1 unit, well, you know, this Q1 unit is actually a market demand. It's not a someone. Okay, some renters. It's the whole market, and that actually doesn't really make a lot of sense. Especially, we can imagine at Q0 there are people, right, have a higher willingness to pay than rent 4, but at Q1 the willingness to pay has declined to rent 3. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. Anyway, C, no one will have to pay a higher actual price than rent 0. Oh, rent 0 is here. Nor will anyone be willing to do so. That's just a statement that does not make sense. Doesn't make any sense to me anyway. Well, whatever you think. Alright, look at D. There will be a surplus of rental units. When there will be a surplus of rental units? If the price is above the equilibrium price, right? Say between rent 3 and rent 4, you have a quantity supplied higher than the quantity demanded in the market. Now let's look at question 3. Look at this picture again. In this picture, if rent controls are set at rent 1, okay, let's see, rent 1 again. I'm borrowing this one. Make it to rent 1 again, and let's think about this. What's gonna happen, right? The idea is what's gonna happen. The quantity demanded will be higher than the quantity supplied, and if you want to supply this extra demand, right, you have to accept a low price. You have to accept a low price. But can the landlords really accept a low price? Only if they can reduce their cost. Okay, there is a cost of maintaining a rental property. The rental property has different kind of appliances, especially heating equipments, air conditioning equipments, right? And the windows, the paint inside, outside, the doors, hardwares in the house, all those need maintenance, and those are cost. So, if they can have a higher price, they are willing to supply a higher quantity, because then that can cover their cost. These are mutually beneficial transactions. Nobody is forcing anybody to do anything, right? But if the government say you cannot charge a price higher than rent 1, then they have to keep the cost of running the apartments low. What's gonna happen is basically the rental apartment may be inefficiently low quality, not only low quantity, okay? Not only low quantity like Q1, that itself is already not very efficient, and there's deadweight loss here, okay? But also, they need to, the landlords, why they are in the market? They are in the market to make some money, right? And you will learn. They at least try to make a zero economic profit, right? At least try to break even. So, when the market price is not enough to pay for their cost, they reduce the quantity. And at the same time, right, they need to crunch their own cost, right, to make some money, or to say to make zero economic profit. Okay, only monopolists or people with monopoly power, they can make economic profit. But if this market is competitive, then people make zero economic profit. You will learn that. In other words, let's just say, there's something the landlords need to do to maintain a property, and if the market price does not allow them to make that much money to cover their own cost, they will reduce the supply. That's number one. Number two, they will have to cut their cost and reduce the quality. Okay. Let's look at B. There will be an efficient allocation of rentals. Not really. I said there's a deadweight loss here. Okay. C. Some landlords may break the law by renting below the mandated price. The price is already below the what? The equilibrium price. So they don't need to do lower. They actually they not the landlords, but basically when you are trying to find a apartment in a price controlled area, a lot of the time you have to pay a finder's fee, a very pricey, like $3,000, something like that, for the agent to find you a place. Okay, there's various ways the market actually charge a higher price. Okay, either through lower quality, right, for the tenants, right? A lower quality apartment means actually higher price, or through extra charges other than the rent itself. And you probably have watched the video I sent to you from friends, and I think you can see what people do, right? Pay the extra price. What do they do to get into a rent-controlled apartment? Okay, C, some landlords may, okay, we've done that. D, new apartments will be constructed. No, only if you raise the market price, then they supply more housing to the market. Okay, if you make the market condition really adverse to the landlords, to the builders, then the supply won't be there. People won't have enough place to live. Okay, that is question 3. Let's look at this one. Rapidly increasing health costs have been a major political concern since at least 1992. Suppose the government sets the maximum price for a normal doctor visit at $20 to control rising health costs, but the current market price is $40. What is most likely to happen? A. Most people will try to visit the doctor, but there will be fewer doctors willing to see patients at this price. Is that a shortage? I think so, right? The government price is a price ceiling set below the equilibrium price. B. The same number of people, meaning the original equilibrium quantity, will try to visit the doctor, and the same number of doctors are willing to see patients at that price. This means, setting a price ceiling below the equilibrium price doesn't disturb the market equilibrium. Can that happen? I don't think so. C. More people will be able to see the doctor since price is lower. This whether you can see the doctor not only depends on the patients, but also depends on the doctor. Okay, sometimes a small town has several doctors, right? But they most of them may went to vacation, right, from Ohio to Florida. They may be gone in the winter. So when there's a flu coming in, right, swept through a small town, they may have very limited choice to go to some clinic. Okay, most of the doctors are out of the town. It's very possible. So, you know, there are two sides. What we are saying is basically there's not only the demand, right? Yes, it always feels good. It's always make the politicians looks good if they can make the poor feel better. All right, but once you violate the rule of supply and demand, the situation can be worse. Okay, rather than better. Okay, D. Fewer people will try to see the doctor. Why will be that? If the price is lower, if something is cheaper, you want more, right? And fewer doctors are willing to see patient at that price. That part is the same as part A, right? The second part in A. All right, let's look at question 5. Suppose the NFL wants to give the common fund the opportunity to attend the Super Bowl. So it sets Super Bowl price low. Let's say they set the ticket prices for a regular seat at the Super Bowl 51 to cost just $400. $400 still a lot. People who have tickets, however, can turn around and sell them online for $1,500 or more. If there are no transaction costs for fans with tickets to sell them, the true cost to a fan of attending Super Bowl 51 is what? What kind of price? It will go to the market price, okay? It will go to the market price. Why is that? Because people who can get it at $400, and if the common fund only has a willingness to pay at $400, in other words, this common fund simply value this game at $400, right? Yeah, they can buy, and if they put in $400, get back $400 worth of happiness, they're break even, right? They're fine. But then if there's an opportunity to sell it, let's say just $500, right? They get what? They basically make $100, right? They make $100 compared to an action give them zero net economic benefit because they would like to pay for $400 and the game cost them $400, right? So as long as the price is above the $400, the marginal buyer who paid the market price, or say who paid the ticker price, right, the tag price of $400, they're happy to turn around and sell at the market price, which is $1,500 and above. Now look at C. What this one says: the monetary price paid to obtain the ticket, which is $400, right? You pay $400 if you can grab a ticket, but if you can sell at $1,500 and more, you won't sell it at $400 or $450 or even $900, right? You sell it at $1,500. That's the market price. So the true cost to a fan of attending Super Bowl, right? Eventually, all the tickets, right, go to those fans whose willingness to pay is above $1,500 or more. Now, does D make sense? Um, it doesn't make sense at all because $1,100 is actually $1,500 minus $400, which will be sort of the profit, right? A kind of accounting profit for the people who obtained the ticket at $400. But what D says is, right, the true cost to a fan of attending Super Bowl is $1,100 less than the opportunity cost of a ticket. But actually, let's assume somebody just bought this one at $400, and this guy is not very rich. Okay, usually don't splurge on things like this, and but he decided, this is his chance to attend the Super Bowl. So he went to the Super Bowl, didn't sell, right? Didn't sell this ticket at $1,500 or more. Then what happened to this guy? He actually gave up a total of $1,500 or more to attend the game. All right, so it doesn't matter whether this person got the ticket at $400 or at the market price. The opportunity cost of attending the game to a fan, the true cost, is that $1,500 or more. Okay, that is the true cost. Okay, that is question 5 in homework 5.